In a digital world that's just designed to reward constant noise, have you ever felt, well, invisible? If you're not posting every single achievement or taking part in all that digital showmanship, it's easy to feel like you're being left behind. But what if that quietness isn't a weakness at all? What if it's actually a sign of some profound inner strength? Well, that's what we're going to dive into today. The power of having an internal locus of evaluation.
Right? It's such a common feeling in our hyper-connected world. When it seems like everyone is just shouting for attention, choosing to be quiet can feel like you're disappearing. But here's the thing. What if that choice is actually a sign of your greatest strength? Let's unpack that.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to introduce this idea of the quiet architect. Then, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of external versus internal validation. We'll also tackle the digital comparison trap, explore the real power of inner peace, and finally, talk about how you can build your own unbreakable inner foundation.
So let's start with this first idea, the quiet architect. And listen, this isn't just about being an introvert. Oh no, it's about having a fundamentally different relationship with the world around you.
In an age where life can feel like one big performance, these individuals choose not to be on stage. And the crucial point here is that this choice doesn't come from fear or shyness. It actually comes from a place of deep, unwavering inner security. They aren't hiding, they're just operating on a totally different frequency.
And this really gets to the core of what inner security is. It means your sense of self isn't fragile. It's not dependent on likes, comments, and followers. It's a solid foundation you've built for yourself, and it's one that doesn't need an audience to feel real.
So how does this inner security actually work? Well, let's dive into the psychology behind it and explore the two fundamental ways we measure our own value.
Now, what's really fascinating about this is how clearly it lays out the two paths. On the left, you've got the external locus, where your worth is basically outsourced. It's all determined by the reactions of other people. But on the right, you have the internal locus, where your worth is an inside job. It's based on your values, your goals, your standards.
So with an external locus, you're essentially handing the scorecard for your life over to other people. Your confidence can go up and down based on an algorithm or just the mood of the digital crowd. It's this constant, exhausting search for approval from the outside in.
But with an internal locus of evaluation, this is where you take the scorecard back. You are the judge. This is really the superpower of the quiet architect. Your self-worth isn't up for public debate because you've already validated it yourself based on standards that you and only you control. And this internal standard, it's linked to some really powerful traits like high emotional intelligence and just a deep self-awareness. It means you have a really clear sense of who you are and what actually matters to you. You're way more focused on building the structural integrity of your character than, curating the cosmetic decoration of an online profile. So why is developing this internal standard so incredibly critical right now? Well, that brings us right to our next section, the trap that so many of us fall into online every single day. This is a psychological concept that's basically been put on steroids by social media. We take our messy, complicated, real lives with all the ups and downs, and we measure them against these perfectly filtered, cropped, and captioned highlight reels from other people's lives. It's a completely unfair comparison, but we do it constantly. And this just creates a vicious cycle. You see the highlight reel, you make that unfair comparison, which then distorts your perception of your own reality. And that, in turn, fuels anxiety and a deeper need for external approval. You start chasing likes to close a gap that you just created in your own mind. It really is a trap. So when a quiet architect chooses privacy, it's not about hiding. Not at all. It's a conscious, strategic act of self-preservation. It's about intentionally stepping out of that comparison game to protect your own mental and emotional well-being.
And this leads us perfectly into our fourth section. See, choosing to be quiet isn't passive. It's actually a highly efficient and really powerful strategy for living.
I love this quote because it just completely reframes the conversation. From this perspective, that endless chase for online attention is a low-value task. It just drains your energy without offering any deep, meaningful reward. It's basically just busy work for the ego. Exactly. It's about conserving your most valuable resource, your mental and emotional energy. Instead of spending it on performance, you can actually invest it in what truly matters, your goals, your relationships, your inner growth. And this slide really captures that trade-off perfectly. On one side, you've got performance, which is all driven by status and results in a confidence that goes up and down with every bit of external feedback. But on the other side, you have peace. It's about building a structured internal system, a permanent foundation for your confidence, and living a life that's driven by intention, not by the need to be seen.
Okay, let's bring this all home. How do we take these ideas and actually use them to build something truly lasting within ourselves?
Here is the absolute core takeaway. When you truly see and accept yourself, the need for external validation just fades away. You feel seen because you are the one doing the seeing.
This metaphor just perfectly captures what we've been talking about. While so many people are busy building these flashy billboards on the main road, just screaming for attention, the quiet architect is in the back, cultivating a rich, sustainable ecosystem behind a stone wall.
And this is the result, right? A billboard is fragile, it's subject to the elements, and it eventually just blows over in a storm. But a garden has deep roots. It provides real fruit, real substance, and lasting peace long after that storm is past.
So, we've explored the what and the why of the internal locus of evaluation. The real question now is for you. How will you build your unbreakable foundation? What's just one step you can take today to strengthen your internal standard and start living a life that is truly, authentically your own? Thanks for joining me for this one.